there was a trailer for a new Fire Emblem game. So I made a PowerPoint about it. Firstly, let's go over what this new game is. It's called Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. There's like a Roman Empire slash gladiator type setting. We got 4 protagonists. It's stylistically way more serious than Engage was, and it releases sometime in 2026. Probably summer, fall, or winter, because we had a couple other games during that same direct that had a 2026 release date, but they had like spring or like exact dates. So probably third quarter, third or fourth quarter release date. So like September through December next year. It also seems to be set in the same world as Three Houses. You can see that there's this one guy who has what is very clearly a crest weapon, and then also right at the end of the trailer, that's just straight up Sothis as an adult. They like awakening tiki'd her. It's kind of cool. Anyways, it also seems to be like totally in house as well. This is a splash screen from the end of the trailer, and you can only see Nintendo and Intelligent Systems logo there. You don't see Koei Tecmo or any other development house. So like, I think it's all in house. I don't know. I'd have to go back to like the Three Houses trailer to see if it was only Nintendo Intelligent Systems, but I don't know. Seems like it's just all in house. So this isn't a trailer analysis. This video is actually a wish list of what I want in the new game. But I have some initial thoughts on what they've shown. I really like that they focused on the narrative here. The main 4 characters seem to have separate plots that are all happening concurrently. The Roman gladiator setting just like that just goes hard. I'm hoping that the Three Houses tie-ins are like kind of the same level as the Fire Emblem 1, 2, and 3 stuff that we got in Awakening. Like, it would also be cool if this turns out to be like Fodlands Valencia, where it's like Awakening took place on, and Marth's games took place on Arcanea, and then you have Gaiden and Echoes, which takes place on Valencia, which is the continent just across the sea. So, like, this could totally be Fodlands Valencia. Like, we're seeing a different part of the same world. That'd be really cool. And after seeing this trailer, like Engage looks even weirder now. Like, what? This is kind of an aside, but like, okay, fine, I'll play Engage, because I'm morbidly curious now. Like, how did we curveball this hard into whatever Engage was? You guys roasted me in the comments of my last video, so I feel like I owe it to you to play Engage for one. And I really regret not emphasizing I value my time and I don't want to waste like 10 to 20 hours in a game I'm not going to have fun with. Because like some people said it's like, "Oh, why don't you emulate the game and just try it out? That way you don't have to spend your money." Well, I still have to spend my time with the game, right? Like, I'm not going to go to a restaurant, not order oatmeal because I don't want oatmeal, and then go home and make myself oatmeal because it's free. Like, that's ridiculous. I just didn't think I would have fun with the game, so it doesn't matter like how I was going to play the game. I just didn't want to play the game. But it might be a long wait for Fortune's Weave, so like I might as well catch up and play Engage, right? And then like I can milk it for content. It'll be cool. Anyways, what is my wish list for this new Fire Emblem game? Firstly, though, I have an honorable mention. Pricing sucks. A Switch 2 in Canada, where I live, is like $700, and games are like $90 after tax. So I really hope this game comes out like close to a Switch 2 Lite or something similar to that, because I am not dropping $790 just to play this game. Obviously, the game isn't coming out tomorrow, so I like have time to save my money. But still, though, there's no reason that the Switch 2 should cost this much. So, anyways, number 5. Fire Emblem to me has like 4 pillars that make it a great series. The first is the moment-to-moment gameplay. This is stuff like the weapon triangle, the durability, the positioning, map design, like your bread and butter gameplay stuff. Then there's the build crafting. This is stuff like reclassing, skills, child units if the game has it, level grinding system if the game has it, that sort of thing. Then you have the story, and the story is not just the plot, it's also how good are the protagonists, how good are the villains, how good is the world building, what kind of tone does the game has. And then there's the downtime. So this is stuff like the home base, the support conversations, mini games, like romance systems if you're like some of the newer games, and there's an avatar, that kind of stuff. And to me, there's like different strokes for different folks. People put different emphasis on the different things of the four pillars. I would personally rank them like this. Story is number one for me, and what I mean by that is like I'm not going to order a steak and have no sides. Oh, the gameplay is the most important thing. Yeah, sure, but like that's just a steak with no sides. I want like mashed potatoes. I want like broccoli. I want like a drink, that kind of stuff with my steak. So when I say story is the most important thing to me, I don't want just a plain steak. I want all the bells and whistles, all the sides. So like I know I'm gonna get good gameplay from a Fire Emblem game, so I want all the sides. That's why I say story is the most important thing to me. Then I got the moment to moment gameplay. I like the moment to moment gameplay as much as anybody. Then for number three, it's the downtime. By this, I mostly mean support conversations because they tie into that story thing. And then the thing I like least is the build crafting. So like some of my favorite Fire Emblem games, you can see these like two things, story and moment to moment, are like really important to me because like Echoes, amazing story. Fire Emblem Fates Conquest, like the best moment to moment gameplay in the series. And then a lot of people in the comments are going to roast me for this, but I think Sacred Stones has like the best of both worlds. It has, for my money, the best story in the series, and then like it has a lot of banger maps. Like there are better games in terms of gameplay than Sacred Stones, but like Sacred Stones has enough bangers that it's just the best package for me. But anyways, here's what Fortune's Weave needs to like hit all these notes for me. We got to have that serious tone. Engage it's just not it. And like I'll play Engage and I'll share my thoughts on it at some point, but it just wasn't it. They also need to present that story well. We'll get into this in the next entry, but they need to avoid those in-game engine dialogue scenes like Three Houses, and like really lean on the cutscenes and the vocal performances for this game. I also want some rich and complex villains. I don't need like Lion or Arvis. Those are like the two best villains in the entire series. But like somebody who's like as good as Berkut or Edelgard when you're not playing Black Eagles and she is one of the antagonists, like that kind of tier. I think we need a villain like that, at least two. And then I really want some solid world building. Fates really dropped the ball with world building, so if we can get some good world building here, that'd be really awesome to like make the story good. Number 4, presentation. This is what I mentioned about like avoiding the in-game engine dialogue stuff, because Three Houses, if you go back and look at it, that game looks awful. Okay, Galaxy 1 on the Wii looks better a lot of the time. The cutscenes with the 3D character models, the animations are all like really, really stiff. And then the environments, you can see it's like, this looks like some Unity asset flip bad. Like that's just a PNG of rocks that they put over the ground. Like it's just so bad. And the script in Three Houses is like really, really good. But man, the game just looks awful. And I don't think Engage is much better. Like, I haven't played the game, but like you can judge a game's appearance and graphical fidelity without playing it. I think that's totally reasonable, and art direction as well. The character designs are way too extra. The color palette hurts my eyes. These are things that make a bad first impression and get people like me not to buy your game. And just ignore it is not an excuse. These are big, long RPGs. If I'm going to be spending 30 plus hours in this game, I want it to look good for that duration. Three Houses has this exact same problem. It looks awful, but for different reasons. I don't want to get used to it. I want to say wow when I'm playing my cool fantasy strategy RPG game. I think the last like actually well presented Fire Emblem game for the system it was on was Echoes. The key art was amazing. The full voice over was, I think, still the best in the series. Like, I don't think they've topped it. It had the best 3D battle animations in the series I've seen. I haven't played Engage, so I reserve the right to, once I play Engage, say it's like, okay, Engage, the battle animations were really good. And Echoes also had really great UI and menus, and I think it really pushed the 3DS to, like, its absolute limits. Fortune's Weave needs to do that same thing that Echoes did, but on the Switch too. It doesn't need to melt my console, but this game should look like it came out next year. Like it should look like a 2026 game, not 2026, not 2016, right? They should rein in the character design, which it already looks like they have. We haven't seen a lot of the UI, but they should really focus on making a good UI. The color palette needs to be toned down from Engage, like so I'm not just getting a migraine playing it. And they really, really need to be careful about having long in-engine dialogue scenes with the characters just standing around. Number 3, put the focus in the right places. So remember how I said that story and moment to moment are most important to me? I think this game is like really trying hard with its story based on the trailers that we saw. So I'm like, that's why I put it at number 5. I'm not super worried. But there is something I'm really hoping the game doesn't do. I think build crafting is like the dumbest thing to focus on in Fire Emblem. It takes away from that moment to moment strategic gameplay and tension. And to have a robust build crafting system in your game, it also necessitates like these other peripheral systems that make the game worse, in my opinion. You need to have like a hugely in-depth skill system, which can be really easily broken. You need to have a reclassing system, which slows the game down and makes you have to like plan way more than just going to the next map and getting to that fun strategy bit. It usually adds EXP grinding, which lowers difficulty. And like just the whole thing about build crafting is that it will lower the difficulty because you're making your units as OP as possible. And also because of that, there's more downtime systems and more downtime overall. So you're spending way less time actually playing the fun strategy game. And that high unit investment and getting your builds to work is exactly what led to Three Houses having the most abysmal root structure ever. And when your builds take so much investment from the player, they take an equal amount of time to pay off. So it's like you might start making your build in chapter 3 or 4, but then like you don't have that build working until like chapter 18. Like that's too long to get the like dopamine basically. And I know I'm going to sound like a zoomer saying that, but like your build should come online as fast as possible. And then kind of the last thing that a heavy build crafting system does is it just leads to like all this system and menu bloat that like crowds the UI, again increases downtime. It's just a bunch of fluff that the game just doesn't need, that could be better spent on like making better map design, writing a better story, all this other like stuff that is more important. So in my opinion, the build crafting in Fortune's Weave should be like this. They should be quick to make and quick to pay off. Your build should do the thing that you want them to do within 1 to 2 chapters of setting them up. It should also not soak up the majority of your downtime. The downtime for this game should be like support conversations, world building, and paralogs. Like, paralogs are awesome. They're super underrated. Because they add to world building, they give you bonus units, and they give you more maps to play, which is like the thing that people come to Fire Emblem to play. And it should really be a system that you can just ignore and just play the game like it's Fire Emblem 7 or Fire Emblem Conquest. Awakening and Fates like really got this right, in my opinion. And for the love of everything, do not structure the game around this robust build crafting. That is exactly what makes Three Houses Academy arc like so awful. Number 2. Put the focus back on the moment to moment. I know this sounds a lot like what we just talked about in number 3, but like this is more or less like, how do we make the moment to moment better? Because I want every move I make to count. These are tactical or strategy RPGs, not build crafting games, right? So what units I use, what weapons, where I place them should matter more than my skills, support ranks, my level, or like what class I reclassed into. Like that should matter less. So I think they should bring back a lot of cool systems to like make the moment to moment more interesting. Like the weapon triangle absolutely should come back. And honestly, I think they should experiment with bringing the heroes triangle with like the red, blue, and green units of all different weapon types into the main series. Like I think it could be really fun here. Like you have green bow units who count as axe characters and that kind of thing. Durability obviously should come back. It's like a cornerstone of balancing weapons, and it's like this cool risk versus reward system. Unironically, I think there should be like at least one Fog of War chapter just to piss people off. Like I think we're at the point where that's a system that needs to be revisited. Same with pair up. Like Fates actually did a really good thing with pair up, and we just kind of dropped it since. So like pair up should come back. There should be more diverse map objectives. Like escape and defend maps often are like fan favorite maps. So like they should have more of those. The Dragon Vein system from Fates as well. That was only in Fates, and they never iterated on it. It was dropped. Yeah, there were some sinker maps that involved Dragon Vein, especially in Revelations, but I think they should really iterate with that system, and like, there's a lot they could do to make it really cool. I think they should also add some new stuff. Like, I think this game's big gimmick should be something you do in maps, not during downtime. And we already see a little bit of this in the trailer, where we see like these combat arts, which like maybe they're skills, maybe they're consumables. I'm not really sure, but like here we see a unit teleport, which like that's really cool. And it's like if these things are limited quantity and limited use, then like they make for really interesting decisions in game. And then gambits also return from Three Houses, so I hope they like evolve and do more with that system, because that was really fun to use in Three Houses. And my number one hope for this game is the following: fix the damn root structure. So like this is, you can't really see it because of how I laid out my slides, but this is how Three Houses was structured, and it's awful. You have to play 13 chapters to get to the new content, which is the time skip stuff, in each route. This is a big problem because you're locked into your route super early. There's very little story difference between each Academy phase, and events in the Academy phase tie best to the Blue Lions cast. So any non-Blue Lions run that you do, like all of the sameness is like even worse, because it's less good because you don't have the characters who are relevant to each of the chapter villains. It's just so bad. And it's the reason why like people don't get through all the routes in Three Houses, or have to like take long breaks with the game. It's so draining. Chat, honestly, we might be cooked. We got 4 pro tags. Kai, who's that first guy, he's tied to the gladiator stuff. Lita, who's the gal in the middle with like the tiara on, she might be tied to the gladiator stuff as well. I'm not sure. We kind of see her in the arena, but then she's also some other place. Theodora, who's like the cool badass barbarian queen lady, she just seems like she's out on her own warpath, just somewhere else in the setting, just being badass. And then we got Dietrich, who's Timu Alucard, and he's just like edgelording around, and like it seems he's gonna be the most tied to like the deep lore and stuff. So we have for sure at least like 3 routes, like one for Kai with Lita maybe tagging along, Dietrich doing whatever he's doing, and Theodora doing whatever she's doing. But like maybe 4 routes, because like maybe Lita and Kai, like their paths don't intersect that much. So chat, we might be cooked. But I don't think that's necessarily true. Because it seems like these plots are happening relatively at the same time as each other in different locations in the world. So my guess is these characters are each off doing their own thing, and then they eventually team up Avengers style. So you could structure this game like Echoes or Radiant Dawn, where you have acts, where you follow different teams of characters, and eventually they meet up. And that'd be really cool. So there are 2 paths. We got 2 paths here. The good ending is, like I think, and we get this Radiant Dawn or Shadows of Valentia style structure, or we get the bad ending where we have like full roots again. But I think there's still a little optimism even in the bad ending. We might be okay because these stories seem so unconnected to each other as of now that if the game has these split routes, they're going to be very different, and like very different early on, I would hope. Like this game might end up being a backwards Three Houses, where the first 13 chapters are all the unique stuff to each character, where it's like Kai's always in the arena, Lita's off doing something else, Theodora's off doing something else, Dietrich's off doing something else. But then when like the Olympic Games or whatever start, then it's like a narrative pinch point where the perspective changes and everybody teams up like that. Like that could be how this game is, where it's roots. where it's and you still follow the person you picked initially. So like Theodore is your main character in the Olympics once you get to that in the story. So it's kind of like Sacred Stones, where instead of starting with Erica, choosing Ephraim Erica to follow, and then they tie back up, it's like you choose Ephraim Erica to follow, and then they tie back up. So it's like if you skip like the first 8 chapters of Sacred Stones, and the game's structured like that, where it's Ephraim and Erica's path, and then into the end game. I think that'd be cool too. So that's pretty much all I had to say in my PowerPoint here about the new Fire Emblem game. I'm really excited, if you couldn't tell by like all the like joy and vibration in my voice. Like I had a long day, I wanted to talk about this. So there you have it. That's my wish list for the new Fire Emblem. I really want a good story. I want them to fix the presentation. I want them to de-emphasize the build crafting. I want like more cool moment-to-moment strategy systems, and I want a route structure that doesn't suck. Thank you for watching. The style of this video was heavily inspired by the YouTuber Flair's Balatro PowerPoint series. So if you like this kind of series, for one, let me know in the comments, because this was like super fun to make, and I'd love to do it again. And also go check Flair out if you like Balatro. He's just really good and been a huge inspiration to me lately. So yeah, thank you for watching, and peace out.